All right. So basically, yesterday we covered quite a whole lot of introduction, and we went through like what's the web, how it works, and how data finds its way on the web. Then we spoke a little bit about packets, and we had an understanding of what server side and client side mean. Then we started with some basics of HTML. We also went through some tags in HTML and how we can use those tags. And we there was an assignment to do. So far, those who submitted, you all did well, and we're going to look at it maybe if necessary at the end of the class of today. So today, as said, we're going to start with CSS. So basically, what we'll cover today, we'll just do like a brief introduction to CSS and how we can use it with the HTML that we started yesterday. So we're going to talk about inline CSS, internal CSS, external CSS, and maybe some page layout techniques that we can use. So basically, um, I'll just create index. But before that, did anybody face any issues for the tax of yesterday? Because some people submitted and some people did not submit. I think Gillian, you did not submit. Who again is on the call that did not submit? Yeah, I think that's it. Gillian, did you catch up with what we did yesterday? All right, it's like she's not getting me. So basically, CSS like HTML is not like it's not a programming language. It's mainly a styling language for HTML. So for you to be able to understand CSS, it's very good that you recall the main purpose of HTML. That's why yesterday we specified why you should use HTML. So basically, HTML was like normally designed mostly like a structural language, but with time as updates change, like it has mainly been turned into a tool for presentation where you can use different fonts, colors, and other visual elements. So now CSS stands for cascading style sheets. But now the main purpose of CSS is mainly to restore like HTML to its original status as a structural language. So basically, CSS is like it helps us to like format your page, like the layout, text, fonts, images, and almost basically anything that controls your web page. So basically, yesterday we understood how we can generate this piece of code for HTML. So I'll just give it a title of day two. All right, and now yesterday when we're explaining the head tag, we said one we can use it to link to maybe an external style sheet, or you can use it when you're making sure that your site is SEO friendly, and also you can, yeah. So basically, for us to link maybe your CSS file to with HTML, there are like three different ways to add CSS to HTML code. So basically, here I'll just create like style of CSS. Okay. Now, the first way we could think of this is inline CSS. Now, what's inline CSS? So we'll just do a brief research on that. Uh, so inline CSS is used to apply a unique style to a single element, to a single HTML element, and inline CSS uses the style attribute of an HTML element. So basically, once like CSS is most of the times when you add CSS inline, you use like this style attribute of HTML tags. If you remember yesterday, I said that anytime you're working with a an HTML tag, like for instance this unordered list, you make sure that you know all you check the attributes that are associated with each tag. That will make you to better master HTML and make your structure more cleaner. So inline CSS is basically an inefficient way and it's not scalable because each individual tag, right, that you have each individual tag, like for instance that you have to use ordered list, each tag you have to write CSS in it. So basically this method is never used, but it's never used most of the times, but it's mostly it's very very not practical. But now we're just going to take a look at it. For instance, within the body here, maybe we want to use an h3 tag. Now let's just write maybe blue heading for it. Okay, now for us to be able to style this, what we do is, as we said earlier, you use the style attribute when you are doing styling internally. So what you do is you just like yesterday, once you want to add an attribute, you make sure that it's found between the opening tags. Okay, so here we just have like a style. We can give it a color. You can give it a color of blue. Okay, all right. So now let's check that out and see what we have. So basically we just have like a blue heading. So that's more like inline CSS. Now the second way you can do this is mainly there's internal CSS. So now with internal CSS, you can use the style tag, right? With but now using the style tag, you have to use it within the head. Okay, within the head of your HTML. Excuse me. Within the head of your HTML to define like the style of the particular tag, maybe a paragraph tag that you want to use. For instance, um if we want our h3 headings, right, like we want all of it to be defined in blue. So now the internal CSS approach is better than using the inline CSS approach because it makes your code less repetitive, more easier to read and write, and in general is more economical. So how do you do this? You come within your head, right? You have a style tag. So now within that style tag, what you do is, yeah, we're not going to use this for now. So I'll just remove this. So within your style tag, you can just use this h3 heading here. You can have h3, then you just specify a color of blue. Okay. So now it's going to do the same thing, right? Nothing will actually change. So that's another better approach. It helps you to it makes your code easier to read and write, but now it's more economical. Now the third way is like CSS is mostly commonly written in a separate file. Like if you're working on a large project, you will not want to come and be styling things within your head over and over. It makes things not clean. So now with external CSS, right? Once you can create like a style.css file, what you do is now, since it's in a separate file, you have to link it up with your HTML. So the advantage of doing this is that it can be reused with like other HTML files. Like for instance, you can have about.html and stuff like that. So now, and if you want to also update like a particular section of your page, you can easily update it here from the style.css. So it helps now to make like updating becomes simpler, and like the web pages can be used maybe for different users, different browsers, and different platforms. So now for you to link um, this to an external sheet, I'll just comment this and I'll just say internal CSS. All right. Now we'll have to link this to our, what we'll do, just comment this out and we'll use the link tag. So now for you to reference, you see here for this link tag you have the href attribute. So this rel attribute, it's it's an attribute of this link element. It tells like the HTML to import a CSS file. So that's basically it. So now we want to link this to our style.css. What you do is, most of the times if you have multiple folders, you can easily just use a dot and will get you to the right directory that you want to use. So what we can just put an h2 heading and say external css. So now for us to use this, if we try running, if we save this and look at the output, you discover we have nothing changed. So now for us to be able to change this, we'll have to go within our style.css file, and maybe if we want to change, like let's say the h2, right, you can just say h2, give it a color of red. Okay, now you see that has been changed. So basically css, using css, it goes far beyond changing just colors or heading. It gives you like a complete control over the look of your page, down to like every last pixel that you use. So it's very, very important. Now that you know how to like link it, let's talk a little bit on like page layout techniques. Now once let's just do a brief research on that. So page layout techniques. All right, so basically, like css page layout techniques, it help us like with an efficient way to like lay out or maybe align or distribute space among each element. Like for example, if you're working on let's just say a landing page, right, you should have to have things well structured, such that if for instance if I visit your code like yesterday, if you easily go through this, you can know that okay, here this was done, this was done, and this was done. So page layout techniques help us like with a better way to lay out and maybe distribute space among our elements that are needed. Like even the viewport here, it helps us to like size like different elements, mostly the dynamic or static. But now we're going to like some efficient page layout techniques that we're going to look into, though we're not looking into it today, is it involves like flexbox and grid. So but now this is just to give you like an overview of the way you should structure your pages. So I think, all right, with that said and do, now I'll just ask some questions. So basically, what does the css, what does like the css preprocessor do? Yes, have I spoken on that? Okay, before answering that, let's see, like I'll just give an overview. Like css preprocessor is more like how I put it, like a scripting language that it helps us extend our css and helps us to write like regular css. uh should How can I show that? Let's see. All right. For instance, like if you check here, you see this layout of this page. You can see the different elements that are used to like lay out an HTML page. You see here you have the header, you have the nav, which defines like a section, a set of navigation links. You have the section that defines a section in a document. Um, you have an article that defines that. You have aside, you have footer. So this like if you're building a page, you have to have all this in mind. So basically that's like the overview of what CSS does. Now we're going to get like an overview introduction into JavaScript. Then I think from tomorrow we're going to start building something. So basically, now yesterday I mentioned that there are three main languages for um there are three main things that constitute the web, the front end web. What's happening? Somebody's mic is on. All right, like that three main, like you have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So basically, JavaScript is like the web scripting language. Okay, like many people are confused between Java and JavaScript, but most of the time, JavaScript is more of what controls the web. So like JavaScript, like it basically allows you to implement complex things on web pages. Like if you view let's check something like Twitter. This strange. All right, that's not good. But now JavaScript basically helps us to, it does more than just display like static information. Like if you see for HTML, most of the times you're writing like just static data and all the like, but with JavaScript you display information such as content updates, you have interactive maps and all the like. So basically JavaScript is like the third layer of web technologies. So you have HTML and CSS, then you have JavaScript. So basically, there's a way like you can link your JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. So by this point, you may be thinking that, oh, like we have actually gone into CSS, but it's just like an overview of it. So for you to be able to link your JavaScript to your HTML file, you can just use like the script tag. So using that, for instance, that you can do that in your body. So you can use that in your body and you can get like a console.log. Right. So now with JavaScript, right, you can do like there's more of external JavaScript, and now with external JavaScript, like you have like maybe you have a file here, script.js and all that. It helps you can place maybe like an external script, like you have an external CSS. So it's mainly similar to that, and with that you can separate your tags from one section to another. So like that's just how, like that's what's used for linking maybe your HTML script to your JavaScript. Now aside that, Maybe we could do something. Who's joining again? Smallish service. Okay, we can just share. Now talking on that, I think we are done like with an overview of it. Yeah.
DTP, I don't know. I don't know. Is it that you are talking and I'm not getting you, or like you're actually silent?
Wait, to my mic was disconnected. Jesus Christ. Wait, were you guys getting me? Hello, can
Nothing.
anybody?
Oh,
Yeah,
I just
I even
watching.
asked that. Oh,
Jesus
We're not
Christ.
getting anything.
Wait, that means I was talking alone. I said, ha, man. Basically, hi, Jesus Christ. So, what the responsive designer was talking of? Did anybody hear me?
slow, slow, slow. No, I don't think anybody else.
Ah, my headset again. All right. So basically, okay. Let me just go back from here. Like, where did people stop hearing me, please? Is anybody getting me? Ah, my mic has gone. Is anybody getting me?
I'm getting you. Me, initially, I was
I
doing
can
something
get you now.
before you joined.
I'm saying, where did you stop hearing me?
I can get you.
When I rejoined, I just met you on when you opened the where you were about writing that console. Hello.
All right then.
My own case was when you were at the level of the JavaScript.
Okay. So basically, let's just link up a JavaScript to a script.js with wait, do how this might do now. Okay. So we can link that and we have, let's see, this. Okay. All right. So what I was talking, I was like, let's just build like a standard page using internal styling. Then we'll see how it actually works and the advantage with it with extend the disadvantage with it and external styling. So basically, in the with the internal styling, we are using this style tag, right? So what we'll do is basically we'll have within the style tag we can have our body, like the main body that covers, like embodies the whole web page. So we can have our body here. So normally, talking of there's what they call the view height. I showed that here. Okay. So now once when you're working with the CSS, there's what they call the viewport height. You can also use percentages, or you can use yeah. So basically, if you're like working with view height, most of the times you have like a relative to maybe 1% of the height of your viewport. Like when I say viewport, it's like the whole section of this page. Okay. So now, once we do, let's first of all use let's just try to use any property within our CSS. Let's just try aligning our items to the center. Let's see what we have. Is it linked to it? What items? we have this. So our external styling is overriding this. Just comment this out first. So we have this. I'll just shut down that server. I don't know why it's not responding. So we have our body element align side enter to side down. Let's run this again. Okay. Now let's try using some CSS properties on this blue heading to see how this internal styling works. Don't know why it's not working for the body. Let's try this. You can maybe give it a color of white and see what's happening for H1. Oh, we don't have H1. Let's give H2. Let's see. Now that's not indicating, but why is it not indicating? Below our title, let me just remove this and put here. This H2 is not even entering here, but we'll have it within our body, and our body has aligned items of center. So why is it not? Let's use H2 again. I have a color of white, so I don't expect that. First of all, no. So basically, that's it. Give it a color of white. That's all. Was not showing. So now, we can change the color. There are other properties that we can change within um this. You can use. You can align the text. Text align. You can use text align of center. So align the text to center. So like there are multiple there's so many properties that you can use to play around while work with CSS. So now for our page to have like a default viewport height, most of the times it's good to give it a height of like 100 VH. Now this viewport height now is mostly relative like 1% of the height of the viewport, and now you can give it like v minimum or v max. That means it depends on what you choose, but most of the times it's good to give it a viewport height of 100 vh. Now talking of structuring, you can decide to give the whole page a display of flex, but now we'll look more into flex later on. Other properties that you could use that are really common are, you have something like maybe the font size. You can also reduce the font size maybe to like 50 pixels. So it depends on you. You can increase it right up to 100 pixels. depending on you. So another property that you can really take note of is you can use the width. Right now, talking of the width, let's see how it looks like. You cannot really see how the width works here because let's see how we can. Okay, so basically there are so many properties that you can use while styling elements, and depending on what you want to do, like you can search maybe for a property related to, maybe you want to increase the, you want to change the background color and stuff like that. So there are many properties online depending on what you want to do. So with that, this is how you use it internally. Now if you want to use the same thing externally, what you do, you can just easily copy this and go within your style.css, then paste it here. Then you can come back to our index, then uncomment this out. Once you comment this, I will have the same result. As you see, it's better to do things this way because firstly it makes your code more presentable at first, and it gives you a better way to improve or like to fix bugs and stuff. So now once you're once you get like the whole structure of how that works, it's you can use it now to play around on anything. You can maybe come into your styling, maybe you want to add a background color to this body. Now what you do is, first of all, you ask yourself, how can you add the background color? Like it says, it's like there's one thing you should not basically try to cram the properties, right? Because you always see the properties on the internet. So the main thing is for you to search for it. Now background color css. So you see, basically you can just give it a background color of green or so, then it's going to get things done. So we'll just copy this, then we'll try it out here. So let's see. So the whole page takes a background color of green. Now there's so many different ways you can, either you can still use, maybe if you want your background to take maybe a linear gradient. Okay, now the linear gradient mostly goes like from the top to the left. Like you have the top, you have the left, you have top right. So basically let's use you can give it top left, then you can just use any hex code. I'll just use this. So it like, depending on the, like any hex code you want to use. So now this first this color will go for the top, and the other color could go for the left. Let's just 7 5 6 so you can have the for the top and the left, and let's see. So you have something like this, like a gradient of colors. So basically that's just how you use
That one is
css.
I'm lost. That to mix those colors. How did you do it?
Okay, firstly, right, you, if you want to use linear gradient, like to do that is linear gradient. So let's just say linear gradient css. Now you can go to mdn documentation, like the thousands of so you see here, you have background linear gradient, you have this color and this color, you have background linear gradient, you have these different colors. As the four colors is top, left, bottom, right. So and below, you see here, you can also um have like different degrees, right? There's another way you can add it using values. You see here that the values to top, there's to bottom, there's to left, there's to right. So all of them, like, they have different angles, like, depending on what you specify. So that's just basically how you can use that section. Now I think with that we're done with like the overview of CSS. Yeah. Um aside that, I think let's do something. Yeah. So basically that's how you play with HTML and CSS. Then now let's do like maybe a basic overview of JavaScript. But now that's, I don't think that's necessary for now. So let's use maybe like a script.js. Most of the times when you're just practicing like JS on your own, there is one thing that's called like use streak. So use streak helps you to maybe find, it helps you to code strictly using that JavaScript principles. So now, for instance, if we have our script.js here, what we are going to do is, before we write or define any function or any variable, you just need to start with what you call use streak. Okay, we have use streaks. So let's check if we have linked it. So I've linked our HTML to our CSS. Then we have linked it to the JavaScript. Now, what we'll do is basically we'll just look at like some fundamentals of like using JavaScript like for the web. So, for example, if you want to like get uh, if you want to get an output of something, right? You mainly use like the console.log. So what we'll do is let's just we'll just define we can just define we can create a variable that maybe could store like countries. Okay, we can just say let country. For now you not really will not really use this, but it's just giving you like an overview of how things go. So we can say we can have maybe our country to be Cameroon, but now are we going to use that for this? Well, for now, right, we'll just is it somebody typing something? Gillian, you have a question? Go on.
Okay, Danny, please can you tell me the extension that you download that enables you to be able to see the messages beside? Like for example, on that screen, I saw country not yet defined. Yeah,
Error,
country
error,
is assigned.
error lens.
Okay.
Yeah. I think rather than us going into JavaScript now, what we'll do is maybe we can let's see if we can build a page. Yeah, maybe we could just build something. Well, the focus of today was mainly CSS, inline CSS, and also I think we should be done for today. Yeah, that's basically what we had to do today. So let's not take more than the time. And since nobody had issues with the assignment, I think we're not going to do any correction. Can you guys even get me?
Yes, you can get you.
So basically we're done for today. Is there any question?